Google CEO is defending YouTube's practices despite a series of recent scandals. In a new interview, Sundar Pichai admitted that the company isn't perfect, and he acknowledged that YouTube doesn't guarantee top quality service that users expect.
This comes as the company faces allegations of fostering hate, enabling pedophiles, and spreading misinformation.
We aren't quite where we want to be, but I think it's a genuinely hard problem of how do you YouTube as the scale of the entire internet. And I think we are making a lot of progress. But the thing we are trying to do is to bring more authoritative sources and fact checks on videos which may be controversial. It's a case where we got it wrong, but that's what we are trying to do, and we are working hard to improve.
All right, for more on this, we want to bring in Axios media reporter Sara Fischer. Good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
So what are the biggest takeaways from Pichai's interview with Axios?
I mean, my biggest takeaway is that he's definitely an engineer. This is somebody who really understands product, who really wants to build good product and innovate. And I think for a lot of these companies who are built by engineers, think about Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, the afterthought has really been public safety and has really been how do we create a product that's beneficial to society. Now we're starting to see the negative consequences. You see people like Sundar Pichai coming out in a different way. They're a little bit more shy in front of the camera, right, when they have to talk about these kinds of issues. So that was my biggest takeaway. I'd say contextually the biggest takeaway is that YouTube is Google's biggest problem. And remember, Google has a far-reaching business. They're doing everything from health products to advertising to internet around the world. But YouTube is really where their focus is right now.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up, because I thought to myself, a lot of people probably don't know that Google owns YouTube, and that's part of the conversation we keep having, that they're really just a handful of power players, and they own a number of different platforms. So you may think, oh, I don't want to deal with Google, I'm only going to deal with something else, and you might actually be dealing with Google or Facebook or whatever. So let's go through sort of some of the recent scandals that they've had to navigate, because it seems like they're always playing catch up.
Always playing catch up. So the biggest ones in this year, one is child sexual exploitation. We've seen this time and time again on YouTube, where reports come out that there are pedophilia rings, whether it's through the videos or the comments itself. YouTube has tried to play catch up. Okay, we're going to eliminate advertising on those types of videos. We're going to make it harder for those types of creators to be able to share things more often. But at the end of the day, the problem still exists, right? I think 400 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute. Can you imagine policing through all that? So that's problem number one. Problem number two is hate speech and violent speech. When you have people that are calling out individual groups, saying that one group is less than another, or even targeting individuals has become a problem. We saw last week a Vox journalist was targeted by someone that Google and YouTube said, we don't need to take this person down. They're not violating our policies. Well, after enough outcry, they finally did. So really what the content problems come down to on YouTube is people doing bad stuff. Google's AI machines are not catching it. And that's where their policies have to be a little bit more strict.
So it's not that I'm trying to understand, if somebody is posting video that shows children being sexually exploited, it's not that they're allowed to do that. It's that the algorithms or the measures that they have in place are not catching and flagging those videos.
Such a good question. So part of it is that, yes. The other problem is that people who want to do bad things on YouTube figure out ways to manipulate the system. They'll figure out a way to post a video that's just on that borderline so it doesn't necessarily violate the rules, but still, in context, it's really bad. And so that's where Google is really struggling. It's where Facebook is struggling, too, this borderline content issue. And so people will say, well, hey, before you just take down my video, why can't you tell me what that borderline is so I know not to go near it? And Google's response, Facebook's too, is, but if we tell the world how our algorithm works, then the world is going to try to beat it.
Right.
So they're in a very difficult position when it comes to trying to filter out some of this really harmful stuff.
Yeah, we talked last week about some of the disturbing videos that actually aren't disturbing, really. They're sort of parents uploading their kids playing in the pool, but because of the nature of people who are sick people, they sort of pervert that. And that's part of the reason why it's difficult to police the videos that get uploaded on YouTube. So listen, there's going to be federal hearings, right? Federal investigations into Google, Amazon, Facebook, and Apple. The FTC and the Justice Department are looking into sort of anti-competitive practices. Tell me what we can expect tomorrow.
Yes, so tomorrow's a big hearing. You have the House Subcommittee on Antitrust is going to be looking into whether or not Google, Facebook, and tech companies, they're exploiting their dominance to hurt the news industry, to hurt us. Essentially what they're saying is, look, we haven't passed any meaningful legislation around tech companies with the exception, quite frankly, around sexual exploitation. And because of that, we might have inadvertently let them dominate the news industry and all the ad revenue. How is this impacting society? How is this impacting the news we're getting? So that's what you're going to hear tomorrow. The big news industry heavyweights and alliances will all be there testifying. And then what you should expect further down the line is we're going to have more hearings about this kind of stuff. Are Google and Facebook exploiting dominance in other areas? It might not even just be media. It could be retail. And so this will carry on for many, many months. And by the way, once you open that can, it's not going back. Once we start investigating these tech companies and start thinking about ways to regulate them, expect that regulation to happen.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Always great to have you, Sarah. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.